And now we got two weapons. They are both animating, aiming, but we want to swap between them, right? We want to have multiple weapons in our inventory and want to be able to swap. So let's work on that. And we want also to be able to maybe pick them up and you know, do stuff with them. So let's first of all place both of our blueprints on the ground, and let's make our character be able to pick it up. So we go to HR examples, blueprints, and we go into FPS Pro, and then we take this one and take this one, and we need to make sure that they can even lay on the ground. So we can just by hand place them there, right? But we don't want to do that. What we want to do is for them to spawn and to just drop on the ground. So we know that our weapon is replicated and it's using net owner relevancy, but we're not replicating movement for this actor, which is bad. We need to change that. We need to go into our class defaults, and we need to go into replication and replicate movement. Replicate movement makes sure that the server is keeping track of our position of the object when it is moving by any kind of movement component or by physics. And by physics is the part that we want to use right now. So we want this to just simulate physics and drop on the ground. But to do that, we need to change our collision settings, because right now we are not doing any collision whatsoever, right? So we will make object type set to war dynamic. Actually, we should have an object type of a weapon, but let's just keep it war dynamic right now. And let's make sure that it doesn't block any of the trace responses, maybe except visibility. It should probably block visibility at this point. And it should block word static, word dynamic, cannot block pawn or it will be kicked by us and pushed forward. Physics bodies, why not? Vehicles, definitely not. And destructibles, yeah, probably yes. So we set it up like this, but we still have collision enabled, no collision. So we will add a new variable which will state on ground. Okay, and if it is on the ground, by default it is true. We're going to go to the construction script. We're going to take this on ground, and we're going to take this weapon mesh, and this is the root component of our actor. So whatever is attached to it will follow the mesh itself, and we can simulate physics. But before we set simulate physics, we need to change one more thing, and we have to change it again later on if we change the way we work. So collision enabled, saying no collision. What we want is just we want full collision. So collision enabled, query and physics. Set collision enabled. So we're setting collision enabled, and the one we're picking is collision enabled, query and physics. So on the ground is going to be not only editable, but it also has to be spawn exposed on spawn. Compile and save. So now we're doing a branch, and if we are on the ground, so we should simulate physics, so CS and enable collision, it goes here. But if we are not on the ground, we wanted to have no collision whatsoever and not simulate physics. And we need one more thing. Oh, and obviously connect this one. And we need one more thing. We need to go into our event graph, and we need to add an event. Or we actually need to add another function from our functions, and we need to add pickup. Maybe for example, let's call it pickup, and now we can go into our functions and we can see pickup. We can double click or just implement function. So on event pickup, what we're going to do, we're going to set on the ground set on the ground not true, and we're going to go here, copy this exactly, go here, paste it, and connect it. So set to no collision, not simulate, and all this stuff, and we need to do this function before we do attachment, and this has to happen on the server. So I mean, this has to happen, yeah, on the server, so this should be replicated. Yes, okay. Pickup, and we're going to immediately do another one which will be called drop. And weapon drop, we don't even have to detach the weapon, all we have to do is just reverse this and just compile. Where is it? Our here, so drop, pickup, drop. Yeah, compile, save, compile, save, drop, implement. Thank you. So if we drop, we just say that it's on the ground and the collision is full collision, and we want to simulate physics. And once we simulate physics, we'll get automatically detached from any component that we are attached to. Drop done. Okay, so we got drop weapon, we got pickup weapon, so let's now test it. So we will start with both of those objects that have on the ground true. So even if we just go and do simulate, you can see that they just drop. Okay, and there's some problem. Access known, trying to read function. What? Which one? Access known. Okay, so this should be is valid. Yeah, otherwise it will just spam those errors for no reason, so just do it like this, and now it doesn't spawn. Let's check it again. Yeah, no errors, so that's fine. So we got those two weapons that are just dropping on the ground, and let's go to our character. And you know what, for now we are not going to spawn any weapons. So once we go into our event graph, we got the spawn weapon event, which is disconnected. Move it away, it's not part of our gameplay anymore. Test weapon spawn. So we are not setting overlay, so the overlay is, I guess, none. Set up overlay pose, and overlay will be none. None. And now we will want to be able to just walk to those weapons and try to pick them up, right? So we can now, okay, we got this very odd pose because we should be changing poses by weapon or unarmed. So we're gonna do that as well. Why not? Let's do everything as we should. So init, okay, so let's do it like this. Base pose. Base pose, this is all fine. We are not setting this at all then. This is all being set up properly. Okay, so here we're going to say armed. So if we are armed, we want to set this base pose, and if we are not armed, we want to set a different pose. So let's say base, not third person. Yeah, I guess I don't have any choice. It has to be mocap basic, but it doesn't have strafing, so we will still look a bit awkward. Yeah, obviously connect that to the component. So now if we don't have a weapon, which we don't, let's say false by default, we'll have different animations, and we actually should have also different aim offset. So let's go with this here and here, and reconnect and reconnect. And if we are this, then this, and if we are here, we want to do not aim at but look at. okay, 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 and we could also swap the turn rotation, do other stuff, but we'll just do this. So now we are looking around and we are running. Okay, and we can see our chin because of reasons, but I'm not going to deal with this right now. And we're going to check our errors. Obviously, if it is valid, then we can shoot. And again, if it is valid and we let go, we can release shoot. That should be enough of errors. So yeah, no errors, everything is fine. Okay, we want to be able to interact with those weapons, so let's do exactly that. Let's go into event graph, let's find our tick, and we don't have any tick. Tick event, and what we want to do, we want to get our own camera, and from our camera we want to do AGR trace, which is just a convenient change of line tracing per component. And want to trace visibility, and object type we want to only check for world dynamic, and want to trace complex or even not. Trade distance will be just 2 meters, and actors to ignore, we're going to make a list, and it will be self, which is, well, basically ignore self anyway, but also instigator, but also append, and we want to get attached actors of ourself. Yeah, and then we want to just push this one, because this is the main array, and then this is a second array that we are combining and pushing here. And draw type, let's say for nothing. And if we get hit, then we want to see if it is a weapon. So how to do that? Very easily. We just break this hit event, and only our weapon implements the like we get the hit actor, and only our weapon implement interface, so does implement interface, which is called BPI FPS Pro. So if the object we are hitting has this interface, we want to do let's go here and do user interface blueprint widget, and call it widget blueprint underscore interaction. So what we're going to do, we're going to get it was picture, no, it was image, yeah, image. We're going to set image to middle and say 0, 0, 0.5, 0.5, so it's perfectly in middle. Go into brush, color and opacity, something like that, less opacity or even black, but less opacity, 0.3 let's say, and then add text. Okay, and do the same. So we're going to text, anchor, middle, 0, 0, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and middle out, and it will go pick up. Okay, that's it. And maybe let's make this text a bit smaller, because this is what font size? I don't even know how to check it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, let's make it like 18. And how to make it on middle of middle, or let's just leave it at 22. This is fine. Okay, so just pick up. So if we have this some object in range, right? Oh, and let's just make this character. So this is character, this is weapon, This is weapon variable, and now we'll make a new variable which will be called focus object or pickup object, which will be just an actor, any actor of any class. Basically what we're going to say that if it implements this interface, we're going to set this pickup object. We're going to set pickup object to this object, and if it is false, we're going to set pickup object to nothing. That's it. And now if we have a pickup object that we just set, so this will be, by the way, interaction. So if we set a pickup object, we want to display our interface, right? So we create widget. So we construct this widget. WB interaction is a very simple one. Get player controller 0, and now we want this on tick to happen only if get controller local is local control, or even is local player controlled. So only local player will do this on tick, so it's not as heavy on the performance, because if you just do it per one actor, that's really not bad. So if we hit something, we do this, and we know that we are local players. We can get player controller 0, we create this widget, and then we add to viewport. However, if we already have it in viewport, so we need to make this promote to variable and say interaction widget. So we are setting this as interaction widget, and then the interaction widget is getting added to viewport, but this happens only in two conditions. First of all, interactor widget, if it is valid, not, then we create it and add it to viewport for sure. If it is valid, so it already got created, we need to check if it is in viewport, because it might be, because in the previous frame it might be added to viewport. So if it is true, we do nothing, but if it's false, then we get our interaction widget and add to viewport. Okay, so only if it's false. So the logic is like this. Do we have interaction widget? No, we don't. Then make one and add it to viewport, because we hit an object that we want to notify the player that we can pick up. But if we have interaction widget and it is in screen, do nothing. If it's not in screen, display it in screen. And now go here and do basically the same thing. So interaction widget, if we want to hide it. So if it is valid, it is not valid, then don't do anything, it's fine. If it is valid, is it in viewport? It's not in viewport. Okay, fine, it shouldn't be, but if it is in viewport, then remove from parent, only in true. Okay, so this is hide widget, and this is display widget if not visible. So do we have any other options when we want to hide or show this widget? Yes, we do. If we haven't hit anything, we want to also hide it. Okay. So it looks complicated, but it's really not that much. Only local player. 2 meters forward from camera. Is a weapon show tooltip. So we could implement a different interface, like not this one, but let's say interaction interface or something like that. and move all the interaction functions like pick up, drop, and everything to it. And a single actor, it can implement multiple interfaces, so it really doesn't matter if we have one or more than one. So now if we go here, and if we are 2 meters from our gun and we aim at it, we can see this pickup. Okay, that's cool. So we can pick it up. Now, when we cannot pick it up, if someone else picked it up, but this will be the next step. For now, we just got those weapons and we want to be able to pick them up. So if I press E or F or something, I want it to be picked. So let's say F on the F button. So now I will go into inputs and I will go into F keyboard. So on F button, oh, unless we have inputs, let's check it. Input, here it is. Okay, so left trigger, right triggers. Okay, let's do interact use, and it will be F, and on the pad it will be gamepad, face button. Usually it's the right one, right? No, it's the left one, Okay, so yeah, left one. Okay, boom boom. Okay, F, so we don't have to do F, instead interact use, and we got this action event, which is just an input. So on this, what we want to do is want to check if our pickup object is valid. If it is valid, then we want to do a custom event, and this custom event will be server interact. Now, why server interact? Because the interaction that we are doing must happen on the server. So we're doing server interact, run on server, reliable, and we are the owner of this actor, so we can call it server interact. And server interact requires to have an input of an actor. And this actor is obviously an actor, and because this pickup object exists only on the client locally, it's not replicated in any way, because replicating something that we are constantly changing on tick would be a terrible idea. So we're not replicating it at all. What we are doing instead, we're just pushing this reference, and on the server we're doing an extra check. So we're doing distance to, and other actor is self, and if it is lower or equal to 250, let's say, only then we want to do interaction. And the way we want to do interaction is just to take this actor reference and say pick up as a message. That's it. We're telling this guy, hey, pick up, and it will go here and will go on the server. It will change on the ground and will set those collisions and do stuff, and then it must do a lot of stuff here as well. So because this is being called on the server, this will be reliably executed in this order on the server, and we want to do a lot more stuff. So we want to go into event graph and go here into our spawn test weapon. So here we are spawning an actor and setting as a reference. We don't have to do that anymore. And then we are attaching to a component, which we will have to do, and it has to happen on the server. And then we have to set this relative rotation and location, which is also happening on the server, and that's enough. So that's cool. Block shooting, this is also happening on the server. And then get overlay pose and set this pose. This has to happen on the client. So we're copying all of this. Go back here. Copying all of this here. Target actor is this actor. And get relative location from this actor. Oh, and you know what? Actually, we are attaching directly to our, like we picked up a weapon, which means that we'll drop our previous weapon, and then we'll do an inventory when you have two weapons and you swap between them. So right now we'll just set it as active weapon. But to do that, it's not an actor, this is example gun, so we're gonna have to cast. I hate to use casts. We could do it differently, but that will be too much changes right now, and it would cost us too much time. Maybe I will fix it later on. But for now, we'll just cast it. Let's just save it, and from this save, now we're doing this, 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 and that's everything. And so we're doing the gun stuff. So we're sending this to the server, and also from event graph, what we need to do is use this get overlay pose, go back into our inputs, set it here, and this has to happen on the client. So here, when we use this action, we're just pushing this. Okay, and that should be it. So this would be pickup. And now, if this works, I'll just walk to this gun, pick up, and I picked up, but I haven't changed my aim offset. So what I have to do on the client as well is to recast the event that we have here called init animation component. And we need to change armed to true as well. So once we pick up, we go into this input, we do this, and before we do this stuff, we need to set armed to true. You know what, we're going to do it differently. Instead of armed, that will be actually a lot easier to do. Instead of armed as a variable that we will have to change and remember to change, we're going to make a function call armed and return, and what it does, it's saying active weapon get reference valid return, and this is a pure function. So if we have active weapon, then we are armed. If we don't, then we are not armed. Simple as that. So we go back here, we go into our event graph, and we just put our armed function here now, and we got armed. And this is called init anim component. So we go into inputs, we go here, init anim component. This should happen last because let's see, like on single player this should work for sure. On multiplayer this might not work due to lag. Let's make sure. So this works. Now I picked up a gun, and obviously I can pick up another one and they will just do this. Now I am holding actually two guns if you look at my shadow. Yeah, like I have one and I have second, but I am shooting only with the one that is like the last one that I picked. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Event trigger reload, get instigator is local controller. Oh, okay, so we have to do one more thing on pickup. We go into our pickup and drop. So on pickup we need to have an input reference of actor picking up, and this will be an actor. And like we said, we are doing it only on the server, so if we go into our weapon, now that we have this pickup actor, we can also set owner, which is super important. New owner is this, and we can set instigator, which is get instigator, set instigator. So basically we're getting the instigator of our new owner. Okay. Okay, what's broken? Let's go back here to our weapon. And let's go into construction script. So set simulate physics has to be after set collision, so this is fine. Okay, owner is more important than instigator, so screw it. Go function value. Where? Here? Instigator control. Okay. Okay, so we got a problem with the instigator. We have to set instigator inside the weapon. So let's go back here, and on the pickup we need to set instigator. We need to. And this is a pound object reference. So should the event pickup, well, yeah, why not? Let's just do that. Let's go back here. Let's say pickup. It's not an actor, it's a pound, because only pounds will be able to pick up, so it doesn't really matter. So once we go back here, we compile, save. It didn't change anything, but it's now a pound, so it's valid for setting instigator. And now reload should work properly once we pick up the weapon. Oh, still no. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, I know why. Because when we are using our interface of pickup here, the pickup actor, we forgot to set that it's a self. So we haven't set the owner and we haven't set instigator. Now it will work for sure. Reload, works. Let's move some ammo. Okay, it works.